And we're in. Welcome to the Unbiased Rugby Podcast. My name is Matthew. This is Brent. Brent, how you doing?
I'm good. Good. Live from
Good.
Germany. What's been
Wonderful.
happening that side, Matt?
Live from California here in my truck as we speak. Brent, we are going to be talking about the Springboks and the Wallabies. The game kicks off on the 8th of July at 5 p.m. South Africa time, 10 a.m. Central time here in the US. What time there in Germany?
It'll be the same time as South
Same as
African
South
time.
Africa.
We're on the same time
Great
zone.
stuff. Going into last year's games, Brent, the Wallabies gave us a hiding in that first Rugby Championship game. 2 early tries, a bit of controversy behind the Corabetti hit. They gave us a hiding, simple like that. We came back in that second game, Kane and Moody with that steal out of the air. You remember that? That was beautiful. Scoring a try,
It was
and we
brilliant.
gave them a hiding. So it was pretty even last year, I think, 1-1. And we're going into this year's game. Eddie Jones has taken over the Wallabies. That's a little bit worrying from my side. What do you think?
I agree. I think Eddie Jones has always got something up his sleeve. I mean, he's a very experienced coach. Worked with the likes of South Africa, England, and now Oz again. So it's a very interesting one. I mean, he's a great coach. He knows his selection. He's got a set game plan. And he also knows South Africa's game plan. So it's going to be a very interesting match. What does concern me for Eddie Jones' side is the 7 debutants that are coming into the game, and yeah, it's going to make for interesting. It's going to make for an interesting game. Over to you.
Yeah, I think that he's a world-class coach. He's quality. We saw what he did with England, falling short in the final against South Africa in the last World Cup. But he knows how to take nothing and make it something special. What really worries me is he's been so quiet the last few months. Like, I don't know what's his game plan. He's been really quiet. He hasn't come out with a squad up until now. I mean, we named our squad quite a while ago. The Springboks coaching staff. Rassie, he runs the show there. Jacques, the main, the head coach, but he's leaving. He's going to Munster after the World Cup. I'm not too worried about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that we do have depth with the coaching situation. I do think Rusty's always got his hand in the coaching squad. So yeah, it's going to be. I'm also alright with it. I don't have a problem with it. It'll just be interesting to see who he puts into that position. And another thing with Eddie Jones, I just think that when he's quiet like that, something's definitely cooking, because he's not usually someone to shy away from being loud. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Like you said, yeah, Jacques Nieuwenhunder leaving after, but we will be able to replace him. I don't doubt that.
Going into this first game, in terms of squads, you mentioned that the Wallabies have picked 7 debutants in a 33-man squad that Eddie Jones has just named over the last couple of days. 7 debutants. So let's say, for example, not all of them play. Because some of them will be on the bench. There's only a 23-man squad, so maybe 4 debutants play between the starting 15 and the bench. Going to South Africa, playing at altitude on your debut, you've never played the Springboks, you've never played at altitude like that. It gets me, well, it makes me confident for the Springboks for one. And number 2, I just don't see how they'll be able to pull that off. The Springbok squad is experienced. They've been playing together for a long time, and I just don't see the Wallabies squad upping the Springbok squad. However, I do know that Rassie and Jacques have said that they're going to be sending the majority of our first team players over to New Zealand to prepare for the second test, which means essentially we'll be fielding not as strong a side as we could field. Do you think that's going to make a difference? Do you think that'll give the Wallabies debutants a better run for their money?
I definitely think so. Like I said, I'm not too sure who's going to be starting at flower half for us, because I mean that's a pivotal position. I I know for a fact that Faf de Klerk will be going over to New Zealand. So I think Cobus Reinach will probably cover for him there, and maybe Jaden Hendrickse or Herschel Yankees on the bench. So it is going to be it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, you can never count Oz out. They always dig deep. They're really hard. So yeah, it's. I do think that. I mean, Eddie Jones won't just choose a team to come over and lose. I do think that he's busy building depth for the World Cup, and I mean, you can't really get a better squad to practice against, then, can you?
No, I agree with you. And some of his selections, though, just they really got me wondering. I mean, he's gone with Quade Cooper over Bernard Foley. I mean, I thought Bernard Foley did really well last year at number 10, except obviously for his wasting time little niggle there against the All Blacks, which lost them the Bledisloe. Um, Quade Cooper, 35 years old. I wouldn't say past his prime. I haven't seen him play in the last couple of years, really. The Quade Cooper I remember played with Will Guinea for the Reds and the Wallabies, and he was either he was phenomenal or he was absolutely useless. It was one of the two. So very interested to see that. What does amaze me though is the Australian fans and commentators and everyone commenting on the Quade Cooper pick aren't phased at the fact that he's 35 years old. Whereas when we pick Frans Steyn at a similar age, they think we digging someone out the grave.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Quade Cooper's he's an excellent player, great step, um, brilliant with ball distribution. So I don't think he's past his prime. I do think that he's still got something in there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, with Frans Steyn, he came back. He was a bit overweight, so people they judged the book by its cover for sure. Quade Cooper's fit, and like I said to you, he's a monster on the pitch. Very quick feet. So yeah, you got to be careful at that number 10 position, and which is a problem for us because Andre Pollard is out at the moment, and yeah, we're either going to have to field Alton Yankees or Mani Leboeck. I'm not too sure. Well, what's your thoughts on the Alton being selected into the training squad, Matt?
I know you rate Elton. I don't know. I feel like Marnie needs a chance. I think he needs a bit of experience, especially now in the early phases before the World Cup, to sort of get some flow, build a little bit of experience. I mean, I don't think he's got too many tests under his belt. I don't rate Elton. I think he spends too much time with the dietitian, but we'll see what happens when the time comes. I know years ago he played phenomenally for the Lions, and that was absolutely incredible. Him and Faf de Klerk played together, so if they were a pair, that'd be a good pair to start with. But as you said, Faf's going to be going over to New Zealand to prepare for that All Blacks game. One thing that does interest me, fly half I'm not too worried about because, in the opening games, yes, but Pollard will be fit. And this thing is beeping at me now. Pollard will be fit and Willemse will be fit. Sorry about that. Pollard and Willemse will be fit for the World Cup, as well as Willemse will even be fit for the All Blacks game in a week's time. So I'm not too stressed out about that. That'll be fine. Jean Klein, very much so, has impressed me at number 4 or 5 coming in from Munster. That's an impressive choice. I don't know whether Rassie is trying to play mind games or not.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, we've got such big depth in the locked division. And Snyman, Eben, Lotte. I mean, we've got Marvin Ori, and we've also got Franco Mostert. So Jean Klein is he's gonna have his work cut out for him to get into the squad. But I do like the way that he plays. He did very well for Munster this season. So yeah, I'm very interested. Very interested to see what happens there exactly and how it pans out. But yeah, forwards I don't really have a worry about the depth for the Springboks. It's more the back line. But we are getting the guys in and seeing exactly what we're going. I mean, we've got the likes of Kanan Moody and Kurtley Adriansa on the wing as backups for Cheslin Colby and Makazole Mapimpi. So I think we're good in that aspect. And I know that there's one person that you really want to talk about that's now coming back into the play. Who's that, Matt?
Who do I want to talk about that's coming back into the play? Piwe Dianti, my friend. His ban is coming to an end. I would have been so excited to see him. Rassi should just shove him in for this World Cup. A lot of people will have bad vibes with him because of the ban and everything like that. But I think you're unrealistic if you think that the majority of these professional players don't do something along those similar lines. What a monster. What a beast. If he didn't get busted, he would have been the best winger in the world. And still will be, I think, by the next
For sure.
come 2027, he's going to be our Springbok wing. I got no doubt about it. Rassi's even excited. Sure. I could see it in his voice in his press conference, when he's like, "We'll never rule him out. He'll always be an option for us to pick in the future." So I was glad to hear that.
Definitely.
Missed him very much. So he's just signed with the Sharks. Very excited about that. My team, the Sharks.
Very upset about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. So that's great. Jean Klein. Going back to Jean Klein, I think he's going to be starting probably with the big Viking, Snyman. And that'll be an interesting lock duo. I think they are duos at Munster anyway, and they perform incredibly. So I'm not worried about them. Jasper Wiese, I'm hoping at number 8 between him and Dwayne. Everyone says Dwayne's too old. I don't know. I think for the experience and the captaincy, I think he should play, especially in this first test.
It's great.
Going towards the outcomes, I don't see the Wallabies upping the Springboks in Pretoria at altitude, especially with such a young, unexperienced side. I really think the Springboks are going to put 12 to 15 points on them, and my expectation is it's going to be a high-scoring game. Probably going to come out, in my view, to about 36-22 in favor of the Springboks. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with you. First game of the season, defense hasn't been tested as well, so I mean there are going to be a couple of tries running. I'm very sure about that. It's going to be interesting with the way that the team has been chosen and stuff like that. I mean, we don't know a lot of the players that are coming through now into the Aussie squad, how they click together. So, I mean, it could be what's Eddie's game plan. Is it running rugby? Is it physicality? So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going on there. And I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game as well. I do think that 30 plus points, 32, 34 points for the game would probably be about right for the Springboks. I think maybe high teens, low 20s for the Aussies.
Okay. I think we should just get into in this video as well, for anyone abroad who's struggling to watch the Rugby Championship or any rugby games. We'll throw it in here at the end. Flo Rugby is the best way I figured out how to watch the games in the USA and in Canada and anywhere in the world. However, you do need a VPN. Flo Rugby, you can get a 1 week's free trial. So if you started on the Saturday the 8th, you'll be able to watch the Wallabies and the Springboks, as well as the Springboks and the All Blacks the following Saturday. That's your 1 week free trial. You will need ExpressVpN. That's $12.95 a month. Thereafter, you can cancel it, or you can continue with Flo Rugby, which will then cost you $30 a month. That is the best way I have figured out how to watch the Rugby Championship, as well as any international rugby abroad. It's not streamed on local TV here in Canada or in the US. And that's the only way that I've found. I think in Germany it's streamed on television, maybe. I don't know if you've got it on your cable TV.
No, it's not. No, it's not. We also use Flo Rugby, but obviously with a VPN.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll link Flo Rugby down in the description, as well as ExpressVpN. And that'll be the way anyone abroad, outside South Africa, Australia, or New Zealand, or any other country that shows it on TV, will be able to watch it. I think I'm very excited for this coming year in the rugby, Brent. It's a big rugby year.
Yep.
France is going to be packed. Stadiums are going to be packed this coming World Cup. This rugby championship is really going to be a tester for the Springboks, for the Wallabies, and for the All Blacks, who are all in contention to win that Rugby World Cup. Wallabies are on a favourable side of the table, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, very excited for this game coming up on the 8th of July, and it was nice speaking to you, and thanks for coming on. And we'll chat again next time.
One more thing.
Yes.
Just give me a second. I just want to let you know about the under-20 rugby champion, the World Championship that's on at the moment. They've got live matches up on Thursday. That will all be available on YouTube. Great matches coming up: Oz versus Ireland, France versus New Zealand, Wales versus Japan, South Africa versus Italy, and England versus Fiji. So a couple of crackers going on. Georgia had an amazing game last week, Saturday, against South Africa. One hell of a scrum. And yeah, it's like you said, rugby year. So it's definitely worth it to subscribe to Flo Rugby for this year, with the World Cup going on and Rugby Championship. And yeah,
let's just make sure, full disclosure, Flo Rugby does not sponsor this video. But yeah, that's correct. The only way we figured out. That's the only way we figured out how to get it right. And quality is good. Everything is perfect with that. So that's the best way to do it. Under 20 Rugby World Cup, that is exciting. I also watched that Georgia game. Hell of a scrum coming in that opening in the second half. Gave shivers down my spine a little bit there. South Africans fought well to come back with a yellow card, or just to just stay ahead with that yellow card. Very excited for Thursday. I'll be watching the majority of those games, and then we can discuss them on another video after that. What do you think?
Sounds good. I'll be there.
Great stuff. Cheers, brother. Nice to see you again.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.
You too, man. Have a good one. Cheers, bro.